Hey everybody, it's Daniel. Welcome to beautiful Barcelona, my living room in beautiful Barcelona. I'm here today with a special guest, Laura. Laura, could you tell everyone
Hello.
about yourself?
Hola, hola. Hola a todos. Hello. I'm Laura and I'm in La Casita de Laura. I teach Spanish from beautiful Gran Canaria. And I'm here with Daniel to figure out some different meanings when the word in Spanish changes gender. And I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Daniel, for having me because this is an interesting topic.
Yeah,
This
thanks
is,
for joining
thank you.
me.
Yeah. I'm pleased. I'm pleased to be here.
Yeah, so the topic we want to talk about is words that the meaning changes when you change from an O to an A on the end, when the word changes grammatical gender. If you are offended by parts of people's anatomy, maybe you should do something else instead of watching this video, because there's a couple of things here that might be offensive to some people. Um, so yeah, go have a nice day if you don't want to hear about sexy talk, because there's going to be a little bit of that, but the rest of it is just going to be, animals and objects and things.
It's going to be
Um,
useful. It's going to be useful.
yeah, it's very like a lot of these, you don't necessarily use them literally, but there's expressions and you can use them all the time. I've got a fly flying in front of my camera here. This is cinema verite for Spanish. So yeah, the anatomical ones, I don't necessarily use them literally, but there's expressions that you do use, and it's this kind of thing that regular people say all the time in Spanish. So it's important to know it. Anyway, shall
Exactly.
we begin?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So first, Laura, can you tell me about caballo and caballa?
Okay. Yeah. El caballo. El caballo is the horse. So it's the male horse. And we have a special name for the female horse. It's actually la yegua. So it's not la caballa because la
Exactly. Yeah.
caballa is a different animal
Do you know
completely.
the English word for caballa?
Like a little fish. Well, it could be up to this size. It's like a mackerel, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a mackerel. I don't know if it's very common in English speaking countries. I knew the word mackerel before moving to Spain, but I'd never seen one. It's just a fish that's got sort of a silver blue color to it, and it's good. It's cheap. You
It's
can buy it
tasty.
in any of our local markets. Yeah. So caballo as a horse and caballa as a mackerel is an interesting one. Also, it's interesting to me how in Spanish you're more focused on the gender of animals. In English, we do have a word for yegua, but I wouldn't necessarily use it. It's mare is the word, Mare. But yeah, in Spanish, you might be more prone to using the masculine and feminine for different animals.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Um, I
And
remember I remember a friend of mine had una perra years
yep,
ago, and perro is dog and perra is the female dog. You're not really changing
exactly.
the meaning. It just kind of sounds a little bit. I was a little bit offended the first few times she was calling her dog this, because for me, you don't use that kind of terminology. It's just a dog, and
Exactly.
you don't. You're not as
Sometimes
gender specific.
the feminine word can be used among humans, among people
Mhm.
to kind of insult a woman.
Yeah, in English also, bitch is hypothetically
Correct.
it's a female dog, but nobody I know has ever used bitch to talk about a female dog.
Mhm.
So it's a, cultural issue. Anyway, moving on to sexy time. Let's talk about pollo and polla.
Correct. So el pollo, I actually learned about this today preparing for this video. I
Well,
was not certain about this, but pollo is actually the name that we use to refer to both female and male chicken.
chicken, yeah.
So it works for all of them. So both for female and male. I didn't know this. I always thought that pollo was the male one that turns into a rooster. But it's actually like the species. It's like saying perro, like dog, like in
Yeah.
general.
I mean,
Yeah,
you can
I
also
didn't
use pollo. Pollo is the food, and you're not thinking about the gender
also,
of your chicken. You
also,
have you have gallo and you have gallina for
correct,
specifically male and female uh, chickens,
correct.
I
Yes.
guess. And we have these
And
words
then we,
in English too, rooster and hen. But a lot of times, once again, would just be like, oh, look, it's a chicken.
correct. Yes. I
Okay.
was not certain about this. And then I just double checked today and I was like, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So what about polla?
So polla actually comes from a female chicken, but it can also be something else. And I learned something also that left me today like, oh wow, I had no idea that this was a good explanation. So we use polla to refer to the male genitalia, penis, and
Sort of
the
colloquially, maybe dick.
exactly. So like dick. But the explanation I saw online, it was so funny. I need to share it with you guys. So
Please.
it said, we call it la polla because it's on top of the eggs. So, because it's like the
Okay.
animal.
That could be true or it could be not true, but yeah. Sure.
It's
Amusing.
a good way to remember, I guess.
Yeah. So an
Because in Spanish
expression.
we call eggs the balls, we call them eggs, we call them huevos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good times. All right. So now that we've talked about dick and balls, let's talk about a couple of expressions because I was thinking yesterday, like my sex life is not in Spanish these days. So nobody's, talking about my polla. But there are a couple of expressions. Can you say me parto la polla?
Correcto, correcto. So when something is super funny, when you say, yeah, I can stop laughing. This is so hilarious. Ha,
Yeah.
ha, 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 me parto la polla. Yes,
Yeah. You could just say
like
me
that.
parto, but if you said me parto la polla, it's a
It's like
bit
it's
more
hilarious.
exaggerated. And women say this too. You don't actually have to
Yes,
be a man in order to say this. Okay,
yep.
that's one. And I was thinking there might have been another one, but I can't remember right now. Oh, yeah. Pollas en vinagre.
Correct.
I like that
It
one a
makes me
lot.
think of like pickles. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like pickled dicks. But I think this is an expression that just means like, well, that's disappointing, but there's nothing we can do about it.
And also like I don't give a, it's like I'm not interested in that. It's like
Yeah.
also another use we make of pollas en vinagre. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. The next one we have is coño and Konya.
Yes. So Konya actually comes from Latin, is cunnu, and it already referred to what it is. So it's the female genitalia. It's la vulva.
A
And
la bulba. See, I've never
already
heard
back
that in
then,
Spanish.
we should talk more about biology and these terms so we know what we're made of. Because
Yeah,
I
sure.
find that most taboos come from not knowing exactly what we're made of and
Yeah,
the parts of our body. So I have no taboos in regards to language and teaching new words and expressions. And I think it's interesting and important to know them, and especially the different connotations and uses that these words can have. No, so if they're used in a wrong way, so you know how to respond, no, how to react, not
sure.
to
Yeah.
like get
We also
down.
have a
So
similar word in English that's, very offensive, but comes from the same Latin root. Usually the Latin words in English are not the offensive ones, but in this case it is. Anyway, yeah, it's less offensively, we could say it is pussy, for example. I don't think most people are offended by that word these days. So that's coño, which once
yeah,
again, I don't actually use that literally, but there are a couple. Is there an expression
there's
with?
tons of expressions, and it actually can be used in many contexts. So it expresses happiness, anger, disapproval,
Happiness.
something that you're, yeah, it's like, how did that feel? Like, long time no see. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cuánto tiempo? So it shows like surprise or happiness.
I would use it to express like, it's just like an exclamation. So you say like, déjame en paz, coño.
Yeah, in that case, it's like you're angry or annoyed or bothered by someone. So you want to just like make a statement there. And yeah, and it's like,
It's like,
so then it's like,
God
yeah.
damn it.
Yeah.
Something you say, it doesn't really mean anything, but you say it as an exclamation to add
Exactly.
emphasis.
It has lost its meaning. No, it's original meaning.
Yeah,
Almost completely, I would say.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody using it to refer literally to a woman's anatomy, but
no, that also has several different names.
yeah, which we could talk about another day. But
Sure.
in the interest of brevity, let's move on to Konya, which I don't know if this has a literal meaning. I've just heard it in a couple of expressions also.
Yeah, so Konya, it's like a joke.
Okay.
And we use it to say, estás de coña? Like, are you joking?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, esa coña, or, yeah.
Ni de
Like
coña.
joke. Also, not even joking. Ni de coña.
Ni de coña. For me, ni de coña is like, no way. It's not going to happen. No way, Jose.
Yeah.
So like, you know,
Exactly.
I ask you, are you coming to Pedro's birthday party? You could say, ni de coña. Like, definitely not.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and then there's one other one that is coñazo, which I guess doesn't have anything to do with anatomy either. A coñazo is just like a difficult or boring situation, right?
The boredom, yeah, well, qué coñazo.
Okay.
Esta clase de matemáticas es muy complicada, qué coñazo.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of, it looks like it comes from one of these, but it's not, you know, anatomical at all. Cool.
Then I want to add, because
Yeah.
I'm checking again, like getting more information about these words, how they're used. So I was prepared for this session. I came up with some people were explaining when we use some words and when we use others, and they were saying that the ones referring to women kind of were used with a negative connotation. So like a coñazo is negative, but then cojonudo, which comes from cojones, which is like false, it's actually like de puta madre, amazing, it's awesome, no? Cojonudo.
Well, then we've got de puta madre, which is about women, but it's very positive. So
it is super positive, but it's also not really nice if you translate literally.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound very good if you translate it. But yeah, there's all kinds of, yeah, the supposed sexism of the Spanish language is a whole big topic. I'm not really well informed about it, but it seems like to me, anytime you can come up with some feminine sounding thing that's also really negative, there's also an opposite example of, you know, something that sounds positive or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Checking again, I was also comparing other languages used, and actually in Italian is the total opposite. So like figa, it's like coño, and they use it as a positive thing. It's like amazing, great.
Que figa, yeah.
Que figa. And also cazzo, que cazzata is like what a silly thing, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how languages use the words and the genders to give connotations. So that's another topic. Maybe we can do another video on that.
Sure, yeah. And interestingly, there's a lot of words that are grammatically feminine to refer to male genitalia and words that are grammatically masculine to refer to female genitalia. So it's
correct.
A little arbitrary the way these, you know, grammatical gender doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just that's the way we say it because
I agree.
Because Latin 2000 years ago, probably.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on to cuento and cuenta. Cuento is a story.
El cuento is the story, yes. Or it could also be like a lie, depending on the connotation of the context.
Yeah.
So, no me vengas con el cuento. It's don't come with the story, which is normally like a lie or an excuse.
Yeah. No me vengas con el cuento. I've never said that, but it sounds like don't give me these excuses or something.
Correcto.
Don't
Yeah,
bullshit me.
exactly.
Yeah. And then cuenta is,
The bill. La cuenta, por favor.
oh, shit. I was thinking bank account, but that's also not,
Also,
yeah.
yeah, la cuenta. La
Okay. Yeah.
cuenta
Of
en el
course. I've
banco.
asked for la cuenta in a million different restaurants at this point, and it's always
Mhm.
la cuenta, but I see this and I immediately think of your cuenta bancaria, which is a bank account.
Correcto.
Yeah.
There's
So it's
also
both
another
things.
meaning. There's also another meaning for jewelry. So for example, a necklace, if it's made of like little balls or like little, I
Beads,
don't know,
I believe.
beads. I forgot the word. So
Is
we
that,
call those cuentas also, like
those are
las cuentas
cuentas or
de.
beads?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
the beads.
So that's a couple of things. Cuento for story and cuenta for bank account or beads or the bill in a restaurant. What about pulpo and pulpa?
El pulpo es el animal que vive en el mar, que tiene 8 tentáculos, ¿no? 8
Tentáculos.
tentacles. So it is the animal, ¿no? El pulpo is the octopus.
Octopus, yes.
Yeah.
And then we have
And
pulpa.
then la pulpa, normally it's like the inside, the inner side of fruit. So, for example, la pulpa de la naranja.
It's just the pulp, right?
Yeah.
Like if you squeeze the orange, you get the juice on
The
one side and the
liquid.
pulp.
Yeah.
And you can get orange juice with pulp or without pulp.
¿Tú qué prefieres? What do you prefer?
I don't drink orange juice. If I was going to drink orange juice, I would get it with pulp for a little bit of fiber. I guess pulp is pulp also for paper, for making paper in Spanish?
La pulpa para el papel, yeah, it can be also.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's the same thing in English then. Yeah, so pulpo for octopus and then pulpa for pulp. Pulpo a la gallega is one of the great Spanish dishes. There's also other ways. I had some very good pulpo down there in Gran Canaria last year. There was a restaurant that was serving octopus tacos, tacos de pulpo. It was awesome.
Qué rico.
Yeah. Then we have Foco and Foca. I'm not sure I know exactly what Foco is. Is it like a spotlight in the theater?
Correct. I was going to ask for like the right word in English. It could be the spotlight. It could also be the car lights. Like
Oh, those are
side
focos,
lights.
the headlights on a car.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a light, like a directional light.
Correct.
It's a foco.
Yes.
And foca?
Es un animal marino. It's the animal, the seal, la foca.
Yeah, it's a seal. That's not too much to say about those, I guess. I don't know any expressions with foca or with foco. But
probably if you're driving through Spain, maybe in a city, and then somebody stops you to say like the lights, no, la luz or el foco está fundido. Maybe it's not working.
Do you say estar en el foco to mean like that you're the center of attention?
Sí, estar en el foco de atención. Sí.
El foco de atención. You don't just say el foco.
Sí. Normalmente en el foco de la atención, sí. Mejor.
Okay, so you're the center of attention. Estás en la foco de la
en el
foco de la atención. Just like you're under the spotlight in the theater, if you're the actor, when you're, giving your speech, you're the center of attention. You're in the spotlight. We can say that in English too. After that, we have libro and libra.
A common one, el libro, no? Many Spanish students learn it very early. El libro, the book. So I wanted to mention on this that most students don't know that librar is a verb. So then you can say, your libro yo libro, for example, yo libro los lunes por la
Yeah.
tarde.
Yeah.
So I am free because librar is like to have a day off or to have time off from work
Yeah.
or to get out of work at a time.
Can you say libro a las 5?
Correcto, sí.
Oh, wow. I
Puede
wouldn't ever say
utilizar,
that.
you can use it like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you work at an office.
Okay.
Then you
Okay. So
can
that would
say
be I
sí.
get off at 5. But libro as the verb librar, I guess you would conjugate it the normal way. Yo libro, tú libras, ella libra.
Yeah.
So it can be a little bit confusing there if you're confusing the verb librar with the noun book. But yeah, so libro is book, and libra, if we're talking about nouns here, la libra is
The pound, the
the
currency.
pound. You don't weigh things using pounds here in Spain.
You can call it la libra also, but we don't use it. We weigh things in kilograms and grams, milligrams, but never the
I could
pound.
say that I que peso 200 libras, but nobody knows what that means.
We would know what it means, but we cannot guess the amount, like what it really represents. So yeah, we don't use libras.
I've been in Spain for 17 years or something, and still when I go to buy meat or vegetables, I just have to look at it because I can tell somebody 400 grams of something. It means nothing to me. The other day I got the hamburger that was like, I think 300 grams, and it was just insane. Ooh. Yeah, I had to take it apart and eat just half of it because it was way too much. But I didn't know. It was like 300 grams. Doesn't sound that much. Yeah. So libra is the pound sterling, I guess, the unit of currency in the United Kingdom.
Correct.
Also, is it the astrological sign?
Correct. I almost forgot about that one. Yeah, Libra.
Okay.
Same as English, right? Because it comes from Latin.
Yeah, it's Libra, the scales, but it's Libra. And we call Libra the scales. The pound comes from that because it's also a unit of weight. It's all the same thing. So yeah, and of course, Libra can also be the conjugation el libra mañana. He has a day off from work tomorrow. That's another thing that's useful to know. Puerto and puerta.
Right? Yes, puerto and puerta. So el puerto en masculino is the port, the docks.
Yeah, at least it's the port. El Puerto de Santander is, it's the port. It's a port. Yeah, just like a place where boats go into a city and they might dock somewhere, etc. El Puerto. And then it's also another thing.
El Puerto. Oh, what?
Oh, I don't know if you even have these in Gran Canaria. Un puerto de montaña.
I've heard it. I've never used it.
Okay, so in Gran Canaria is just one mountain, so there is no puerto. But a puerto de montaña, we have them all over Spain. It's sort of the pass between two mountains.
Okay.
El puerto de montaña. It's not, puerto de montaña. It's very common. In Madrid, we have puerto de Navacerrada. We have puerto de, God, I don't even know. There's one called Despeñaperros, I think, in Andalusia.
Wow, what a name.
Puerto. You don't hear about these things down in Gran Canaria, maybe, but it's a puerto, is the mountain pass, I guess you would call it. And then puerta?
I had heard, but I didn't really know exactly what it represented. So thanks for sharing. You always learn something new every day.
Of course. Isn't puerto also like somewhere where you could plug something into your computer? A port in that sense?
El puerto de USB, por ejemplo.
The USB port, USB. Yeah. Exactly. And puerta?
The door, la puerta.
Yeah, abre la puerta, cierra la puerta. Whatever, yeah. Puerta as door. Plato and plata.
Okay. El plato it can be just a regular dish, like the plate, like the physical thing, but also plato could be the dish as the recipe, like some special dish prepared by a chef. So we can use it for both, I guess, like in English, the
Yeah,
dish.
dish. Yeah, okay. So I would say that plato is specifically a plate if you're talking about the object, something, circular and ceramic generally. But if you're talking about ¿cuál es tu plato preferido? That might be your favorite. Well, I would say my favorite food, honestly. But yeah,
Not your
dish.
favorite dish?
I wouldn't say my favorite dish, but maybe somebody would.
Oh. Or meal.
Um,
Maybe what's your favorite meal? Maybe.
what if my favorite food is chocolate cake?
Oh, I get it. Yeah,
I mean,
well, I guess then it
meal sounds
depends.
like a full meal, which is not necessarily my favorite food. Anyway, yeah, so plato also in a restaurant, you have primeros platos and segundos platos. For example, on your menu, you have your first course. Maybe it's course.
It
It
can
could
also
be
be
course. Your
course.
first course and your
Yeah,
second course is another
yeah.
translation of it. So your primer plato, segundo plato. What about plata?
Silver, the material, the mineral, la plata.
Yeah. I have a feeling that
So,
some people learned this from the series Narcos, where he always says plato o plomo.
mhm.
Probably. Yeah, so plata is just
Money
silver.
in this case.
Yeah, in this case, he's talking about money more specifically.
Mhm.
Plata.
Yeah,
You can have la medalla de plata in
yeah.
the Olympics, for example. You can get a silver medal. You can be a silver medalist. That's plata. Anything else about that?
No, it was also like money in some Latin American country. In Spain, we prefer pasta. We call it the
La,
dough.
la pasta. Yeah.
No
Okay. So
tengo
that's,
pasta.
you mean dough. You don't mean like pasta, like spaghetti or something.
It that's the origin of the name, but we don't
Okay.
imagine that when we say no tengo pasta, I don't have money.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure. No tengo pasta. Yeah. So plato and plata. Last one for today. I'm also not at all sure what the difference is here. We've got bolso and we've got bolsa. I think I just
Yeah,
always use bolsa and because I think
for
they're pretty
everything.
similar, right?
Mainly represents something where you can put things in, but bolso, it's in this case, it's interesting. It's a masculine term, but it's normally used for by women. So it's like a purse, like a women's bag.
A woman's handbag is bolso.
Yes,
Okay. And
bolso.
bolsa is a bag in general?
It's a bag in general, but mainly used for like plastic bags at supermarkets. Also, like the gym bag is la bolsa del gimnasio. It could also be bolsa.
I would call that like a duffel bag, maybe. Um,
And
yeah,
there
this
is
is one
one
of
more
those.
term.
Hmm?
There's one more meaning for la bolsa.
Oh, I think
La
I know what
bolsa
you
is
mean.
also the stock market, the stock market
The stock market. Yeah, la
de
bolsa de
Londres o
Londres.
correcto.
Yeah, the stock market. I have no idea how they got from bag to stock market in meanings there,
Um,
but
I think it comes from the French word bourse because it's
yeah.
also a last name, and I think it's like something related to this last name.
Okay. Yeah, no idea. But there's definitely a building here. I don't know if La Bolsa de Barcelona, I don't know if it's active these days or not, because
Who
I've always
knows?
just heard about the one in Madrid, but there's definitely a building here on Passeig de Gracia, which is La Bolsa.
This one, though, it's all normally represented or written with a capital B because
Ah,
it's like
okay.
an institution, not just a regular bag or a regular.
Yeah, okay, okay. La Bolsa with a lowercase b is a bag, and La Bolsa with an uppercase b is the stock market. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is one of those things I think I've probably used bolsa a few times and been corrected by Spanish people saying, no, es una bolsa, es un bolso. But for me, it's just because in English, you can just say a bag also for a handbag. A bag is pretty
Yeah.
general. It can be a plastic bag from the supermarket. It can be a a piece of luggage. It can be a handbag, a purse, different things.
We have a word for everything. So like suitcase bag for traveling, it's la maleta, but then a backpack, like a bag that you carry with you is la mochila, mochila. So it's like different terminology for everything.
Yeah, of course. Like there's some things that I'm pretty general about. Like, if I were to say shirt for t-shirt, for example, in English, nobody's going to argue with me about the difference. It's just a shirt is a shirt. It covers the top half of your body. But in Spanish, if you say camisa to mean camiseta, somebody will definitely correct you about that. So
no buttons, no camisa.
Not a shirt. This is a shirt, but I've got a t-shirt under my shirt. So I'm confusing everybody here. Another one is zapatos and zapatillas. If you use zapatos to mean zapatillas in Spain, people will definitely tell you that you're wrong. I don't know. It's one of those things, more specific. In English, I would just say shoes, and shoes can be pretty much anything.
Yeah, we have a name for almost everything.
Yeah, of course. Lots of vocabulary. Well, I hope everyone has enjoyed this vocabulary lesson. Laura, where can people find more from you?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm also trying to get my YouTube going at La Casita de Laura Learn Spanish.
La Casita de Laura Learn Spanish.
The Instagram is La Casita de Laura LPA, like Las Palmas Airport is LPA. So I'm based in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. And if you ever want to visit us again, you're more than welcome, Daniel. And
oh yeah, and I recommend everybody out there go to Gran Canaria. It's a very nice place. Anyway, thank you for being here, Laura, and maybe we'll do another video of more vocabulary another day.
I'd love to. Thanks so much.
Bye.